Everyone, this is Jenn Palmer. I'm a healer, intuitive, and spiritual coach. And today I really want to talk about, are guides and angels really real? I know many people don't believe it, and it's because really honestly, they haven't experienced it. I used to be very much in disbelief and very much a skeptic around the idea if they were real. Even when I got into energy healing, I remember my Reiki master saying, "Jenn, call in your guides and angels during the session." And I thought, well, that's nice and all, but yeah, does it really do anything? Am I just playing make believe here? I was very skeptic about it all, and I had not to that point had an experience with them. I've seen at that point the beauty of energy healing, and I could feel the energies. So I knew that that was doing things, but I still was skeptical about the beautiful beings that are here to be supportive to us. So, what might you experience when you have an interaction with a guide or an angel? Well, a lot of times you may not even know you're having one because you just might chalk it up to something else and you're not really paying attention. Or maybe you're just not attuned to the frequencies because there's a range of frequencies that they work through. And the more sensitive you become to energies, the more you can feel their presence. But some things you might experience when you're first getting started or even beyond is strong tingles. I call it an angelic hug. It feels like you're just being embraced by this amazing, beautiful, tingly energy. And it just feels so amazing, so beautiful. It's beyond words. It's not like you're just getting a sudden little chill. And it can go on for minutes, and you're just feeling so good and so cared for and so held. It's a full, in-depth experience, mind, body, spirit, everything. And no words that I can say can really express how amazing that feels, but it's very real. You might also feel that sometimes it happens when you're thinking about something specific or a person, or you have an idea and then you'll get a sudden chill. Sometimes that's also them as well. And I will say too, because I do different types of healing work, the angelic frequencies feel very tingly to me. It feels very electrical and it feels very loving. And I'm going to say gentle, but at the same time, it's also really powerful. You might notice a very euphoric emotional state. It just feels like out of the blue, you just feel so okay and so good, and that everything going on around you, even if it's not that great, it's totally fine. And you'll have a sudden sense of peace. There's no other word than euphoric for this. Sometimes that comes along with the angelic hug. Sometimes it's just separate. It's like this wave of beautiful energy will hit you, and you'll just be like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. That's one of the ways you know that your guides and angels have your back and they're really trying to help you, and you're in good hands. Sometimes you might feel it so deeply you'll even cry. That's happened to me so many times. And especially when I'm maybe feeling misunderstood, or I don't understand something that's happening in my life, or there's like a relationship issue. And then you feel that beautiful energy. And then it just, finally you feel understood. Finally you feel loved. Finally you feel like, no, everything's going to be good. Some people also see them. And, it could be wings. I've had people tell me they see wings, or they might see light beings or plasma spheres. There was one time I was trying to teach somebody how to do channeling, and they called in Archangel Raphael because they felt safe with Raphael and they really wanted to work with that being, that energy. So they got into a real comfortable state and started trying to really connect with Archangel Raphael. And I was watching and guiding her through it. And in the center of her heart chakra area, right above her, like maybe a few inches above her, this beautiful green plasma-like ball, it looked like electrical and lightning, was moving and was right above her heart chakra. And it was Archangel Raphael. I could not believe my eyes. I don't usually see energies like that. There have been a few times in my life I have. That was one of them. Another time when I was working on a client who was really struggling with his anger towards his brother. And so that was the focus of the healing session. I was at his head and I was focusing, just sending in loving energy. And I called on Archangel Uriel to support him. And then right after I did that, a beautiful golden plasma ball was right by his right shoulder and was right there. And then he started feeling really peaceful. So it's really amazing to see it because, we believe it when we see it a lot of times, but that's just beautiful. Not everyone can see it though. Sometimes you have to rely on other senses. Okay. Another time that really stood out to me, when somebody saw an energy around me, I was teaching my very first angelic healing class on ascension. And I was a little nervous about it. A lot of it was channeled information, but I felt very connected to the angelic realm, and a lot of their wisdom was coming through. And we were on break, and one of the students was talking to me about one of the concepts in the course. And then immediately from behind me on my back, and I was standing up near a wall too. So this was like just very interesting. What happened was I started getting that angelic hug, and I felt so euphoric and so amazing. And I was just trying to play it off. And I was still talking because we're having this in-depth conversation, and I was answering some of her questions. And all of a sudden she stopped talking, looked beyond me, behind me. She was like, "Oh my God, Jennifer, there's a huge angel behind you." I was like, "I know." I feel it. I felt their love. She saw it with the wings and everything. So that just blew my mind, because that was confirmation for me. My ever loving skeptic in me was like, okay, it is real. I get it. I understand. It's beautiful and it's very loving. Another thing that is a little more subtle sometimes, unless you directly hear it, is words of wisdom. You might have a phrase that comes to you, or a song that plays in your mind, or you might just hear it. You might, if you're clairaudient, you can hear things. And it'll always be uplifting, very supportive, and trying to help you through. And it's usually quick and to the point. One of my main guides, before I realized that all this was actually real and that they do exist, I was receiving Reiki energy healing for my own healing needs back in the beginning. Every single week, I was going to my Reiki master and getting healing done. And it was bringing up so much stuff. It was really stirring up old wounds, and it was a lot. It was a lot to deal with. And I decided I was going to quit for a little bit and just not do any more healing sessions for a while, because it was so intense. And I was sitting on the edge of my bed that evening and getting ready for bed, just thinking, okay, I'm going to go ahead and lay down. But I hadn't laid down yet, and I was just sitting there. And all of a sudden in my right ear, it was like a radio station tuned in, and a beautiful man's voice said to me, very sternly but lovingly, "There's still much work yet to be done." And I knew what they were talking about. I know it. I was like, okay, I know I have a lot more healing to do. I get it. I need a little break and I'll come back. And I did. But I think they just didn't want me to give up. They didn't want me to be scared away of the darkness that was coming up from me, from my history, my past. And because it was a lot, I had a lot of traumas, like many of us. And it was just so helpful to have them say that to me. But that right there was my very first experience knowing that they were real. They spoke directly to me. Sometimes they don't do that. They don't always expect that you're going to hear it, because they don't. They want to do it in ways that you're going to receive well, and that will work for you in whatever way your path is meant to be. Okay. Sometimes too, another more subtle way that you might notice that they're around, and again, you have to pay attention, it's miracles. Miracles happen all around us all the time, from basic synchronicities where you're just thinking about something and someone says something about that subject, or you're thinking on a person and then they call you, or you're praying for something and then it arrives. Whatever it is, those miracle situations that take place where there's no explanation, like maybe you just narrowly avoided a car accident, where if you were there a half a second sooner, you would have really been messed up. You maybe could have even died. There's stories about that all the time, about how people are like, I don't even know how I lived through that accident. Something was cushioning me. And I walked out without even a scratch. But my car is completely a crumbled up mess. These things happen because we are protected. And sometimes we go through things that maybe we feel like, where were you guys? Why weren't you here? But there are things that we do need to go through sometimes, and sometimes even tragically, because it sets the stage for our growth. It sets the stage for our healing process. And, sometimes, you dive into, I'll use an example for myself. My oldest son used to be on the autism spectrum, and I used to be a computer programmer. And what happened is going through what we went through with him, which felt tragic to me at the time, because it was a loss. It wasn't what we expected. And it wasn't lining up. It didn't feel right. And we were trying to figure out how to help him the best we could, to help him be the fullest expression of himself. And that led me into a career of healing. And come to find out, he was a naturally gifted energy healer. He's a naturally gifted channel, and he's amazing in his own way. He is so amazing. And we've helped him heal quite a bit so that he can be the fullest expression of himself. And I still think there's more work to do. But having gone through that set me on a path. It took me out of computer programming and into energy healing and spiritual development. So that is my calling. That is where I was meant to be led to. And he was my guide in all of that. So a lot of times our circumstances bring us to these things. So even in tragedy, there are miracles. And we just need to open our eyes to see what those miracles are. And then we'll recognize that we are very supported and surrounded by an intelligence that we could never even fully understand. It's like they know what's about to happen before it can ever even happen. And that probably gets more into quantum physics and things like that. But that's not a topic for this conversation. And I just want you to understand that, there are miracles all over and all around, and you just have to look for them. How do you start to experience your guides and angels even more? Well, the first thing I'm going to say is it's free will. You really need to ask. They try not to interfere too much. If you don't want to know that there's guides and angels around, you don't want anything to do with it, they're not going to really make their presence known overtly. Unless it's time for you to wake up and they feel like, okay, she or he really needs to get it together now, and they need to dive into something, or they need to be protected from something. And sometimes that wakes you up so that you can understand it is real. But a lot of times we just need to ask for their presence in our lives, or for their help, or for more wisdom. And they are here to help. And they do work on behalf of the one true creator. I like to use the word God. Some people say creator. Some people say universe. However it is you look at this, it's not to be divisive. We were created by some intelligent force. And whatever that force is the one true creator. And our guides and angels work on behalf of them. So when you're praying to God or the universe, or you're connecting with your guides and angels, all of that gives permission to be of service to you. Also start looking for signs externally. Look for things. I did a previous video on signs from the universe. Take a look at that if you haven't already. And see, if you're seeing any of these signs, there's plenty of them. And when you really open your eyes to look around you, you're going to see that our creator is talking to us all the time. So look for it, because it's all around you. Another way is to really start working and advancing your intuitive abilities. These are spiritual gifts. There's nothing wrong with being able to see visions, or communicate with our creator, or communicate with the guides and angels that are here to help us on behalf of the creator and on behalf of our own souls. So dive in and really look at all of that. Maybe get attuned into some sort of energy healing if that aligns with you. In whatever way is best for your faith and your belief system, connect. Really make an effort to connect and ask for your gifts from God, your gifts from Creator, your gifts from universe. Allow that to happen. And then meditate, meditate, get quiet. Quiet your mind, because a lot of times we miss the signs from the universe because we're so busy thinking and we're too busy in our own minds and our own heads that we don't see what's happening around us. So take a minute to quiet down and then see what comes. All right, guys, I really hope you found that helpful. And let me know if you need anything or if you want more information. Please comment down below. It helps the algorithms. Like and subscribe and share with others if you found this helpful. All right, guys, thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.